I always look up to my heroes, Goku and Vegeta. I don't care if they're not real or if it's just an anime, but those guys are my heroes. I always get so motivated watching that rivalry between those two guys. We are back in action, my friends. I'm so glad to see you back. I think a lot of us can agree that one of the biggest memories that we all have growing up is spending a lot of our free time in front of a TV screen. Now, I know a lot of people these days spend most of their time watching Netflix or YouTube, but if you grew up with cable television like me or had satellite dish, I have to ask you right now one of the most important questions that you will ever be asked in your entire life. Are you a Nickelodeon kid or are you a Disney kid? And you can't say both because you have to pick a side. So which side are you on, Disney or Nickelodeon? I'm not saying Disney is bad or anything because I did see the Lizzie McGuire movie when it came out, but I was a Nickelodeon kid growing up because Nickelodeon was where it's at. Disney is good, but to me, Nickelodeon was just better, and that's why I'm on the Nickelodeon side. If you're a Nickelodeon kid like me, then you know we all have that one big dream of ours that every single Nickelodeon kid deep down wishes to come true one day. If you think it's an Orange Blimp Award, it's actually not, because that's the second biggest dream for a Nickelodeon kid. A lot of people can have an Oscar award or even a Grammy award, but how many people get to say they have an Orange Blimp Award? In the Nickelodeon world, getting an Orange Blimp Award is considered a big deal and is a huge accomplishment to achieve. When you achieve something huge in your life, you get something to show for it, like a cool looking trophy, an award medal, and in the Nickelodeon world, you get an Orange Blimp. But I'm not talking about a Blimp Award because only some Nickelodeon kids want to win that little orange blimp. So if you're a true Nickelodeon kid like me at heart, then you already know what that big dream is now, don't you? Disney kids, if you don't know what it is, let me tell you, it's getting slimed. That's what you call every single Nickelodeon kid's dream come true right there. I don't care how old I am, but I would love to get slimed at least once in my life, and I have no shame in admitting that. If John Cena can get slimed, then there's no one too old or too young to get slimed. You can't say you're a true Nickelodeon kid and you don't want to get slimed, because those two just don't go together. This is why I loved having cable television growing up, because I got to see all the best Nickelodeon cartoons and TV shows growing up. To just name a few, I'm talking about SpongeBob, Drake and Josh, Jimmy Neutron, Rugrats, Rocket Power, and you know the rest if you're a Nickelodeon kid. I spent a ton of hours in front of my TV screen, and I didn't do a lot of my homework because of cable television. I chose watching cartoons over doing some boring homework, and I have no regrets. If I can go back in time, I wouldn't change a thing because I loved every single second watching cable television. The only catch with cable television is you can have all the channels you want, but the more channels you want, the more money you have to pay. Cable television is not cheap, and you know the CEO of the cable company must be a really happy man and must love their job the most when everyone pays that monthly cable bill that everyone gets. I don't know what kind of cable package my parents got or how many channels I had exactly, but I remember having a ton of channels to watch. Cable television isn't cheap, but you know what? It's so worth it because you get a ton of awesome channels to watch, and it makes watching TV so much better. Imagine having the best computer in the world, but you don't have any Wi-Fi. Do you see the problem here? Cable television for a TV is like internet access to a computer. If you don't have both, then it's not going to work out. I know I said I'm a Nickelodeon kid at heart because that's the side I picked in the battle between Nickelodeon and Disney. But anyone who grew up with cable television knows that Cartoon Network was the greatest of all time. Cartoon Network had so many cartoons that deserve a gold medal that they are the Michael Phelps of the cartoon world. Looking back, Nickelodeon and Disney were battling for second place because Cartoon Network was clearly the best channel of them all. No other channel out there had better cartoons on TV than Cartoon Network. We're talking about Hall of Fame cartoons like Ed, Edd and Eddy, Dexter's Lab, Powerpuff Girls, Johnny Bravo, Courage the Cowardly Dog. I don't want to sound like a commercial, so I won't say any more, but you get the idea. Cartoon Network is clearly #1 and was always my favorite channel to watch all the time growing up with cable television. Everyone can admit that Cartoon Network was awesome, but you know what's legendary? Toonami. Does anyone remember Toonami? Toonami is considered the holy grail of some of the greatest animes of all time. Today it's all about YouTube and watching people that we're subscribed to, but growing up it was all about Toonami and watching new episodes of your favorite anime. If it wasn't for Toonami, I would have missed out and never seen some of the greatest animes of all time growing up. I'm talking about legendary classics like Gundam Wing, Tenchi Muyo, Ronin Warriors, Cowboy Bebop, and you know the rest if you watch Toonami too. I love Gundam Wing so much that I still have my Gundam Wing action figures from when I was a kid in my house to this day. But as much as I love Gundam Wing, the greatest anime of all time has to be Dragon Ball Z.
Dragon Ball Z. Dragon, come.
I grew up watching Dragon Ball Z, and this anime by far is one of the greatest animes to ever be created. Anyone who says that they don't like Dragon Ball Z, I'm sorry, but I don't think we can be friends now. When I need motivation in life, I always look up to my heroes, Goku and Vegeta. I don't care if they're not real or if it's just an anime, but those guys are my heroes. I always get so motivated watching that rivalry between those two guys. You don't know how many times I have got myself involved in one of the biggest questions you can ask in the Dragon Ball Z world. Who do you think is better, Goku or Vegeta? You cannot say you're a Dragon Ball Z fan if you never asked that question before. I'm part of Team Goku because Goku is just the man, because how can you not love Goku? I respect Vegeta, but I'm picking Goku as the better one because I love Goku. But you know what's something that you won't see on cable television and only on YouTube? Dragon Ball Z Abridged. If you love Dragon Ball Z and consider yourself a true fan of the show, then you have to watch Dragon Ball Z Abridged. Anyone who has seen Dragon Ball Z Abridged knows just how hilarious this show is. Team 4-Star are the guys who made Dragon Ball Z Abridged, and they deserve a ton of credit for making this show for the Dragon Ball Z fans out there. I never laughed so much in my life watching their Abridged series. Dragon Ball Z Abridged was made for those true hardcore Dragon Ball Z fans because their jokes are on point. If you haven't seen Dragon Ball Z, then you need to get on that so you can start watching some Dragon Ball Z Abridged. The storyline's the same, but what's going to be said is completely a mystery, and that's what makes it funny.
You, Namekian, too strong! Explain now!
He fused with Kami so he could become stronger.
The f***'s a Kami?
Basically God.
But I'm still here!
Do you really believe your own hype that much?
I am the hype!
Imagine living a life with no internet and no cable television. I don't know how my parents survived all of that because it must have been some really hard times for them. I know when you don't have cable television, the regular channels that you get for free are called the basic channels. I know this because the TV in the living room was the only TV in the house that had a cable box and had all the cool channels to watch. I had a small TV in my room to play some video games, but my TV didn't have a cable box, so I didn't have any of the cool channels in my room. When you're stuck with the basic free channels, the channel options you have available to watch are severely limited compared to cable television. Growing up, I shared with my family the only TV in the house that had cable television, which was in the living room. And there are two very important rules that you learn to respect. These two rules are not exclusive to only people with cable television. I just learned these two rules really fast because of cable television, because my family shared a TV growing up. These two rules are those two unwritten rules that everyone who watches any kind of TV learns to respect. It doesn't matter if you have the basic free channels or every single channel known to man. Any violation of these two rules would turn the most peaceful and most happiest household into a World War III battle zone. When it comes to watching television, we all have our favorite channels that we always go to, and we have our favorite TV shows that we all love to watch. It doesn't matter how big of a television you have because the first and most important rule applies to everyone who watches television. It's one of those unwritten rules that you just learn on your own and don't have to be taught. I'm sure you already know it, but let me tell you what it is just in case you don't. The first and most important rule to follow when it comes to watching television is, thou shalt never turn off the television when someone else is watching it. You never ever turn off the television when someone is watching it, especially when someone is watching something that is considered very important to them.
Baby, come on. Oh, yes! What the f***?
Turning off the television when someone is watching something that has all their attention, like an episode of their favorite TV show or their favorite sports team playing, will make you a marked man. You don't want to be a marked man because you can run, but you can't hide. If you turned off the TV by accident in my house, maybe if you're really lucky, apologizing might save you. But if you dare turn off the TV on someone on purpose in my house, good luck, because you're seriously going to need it. I spent most of my time watching a lot of Nickelodeon, Cartoon Network, and even some Disney. It was all about cartoons and kid TV shows like Drake and Josh for me. No one messed with me when I was watching TV, and I didn't mess with anyone when they were watching TV. I was into cartoons and TV shows, but my dad didn't really have anything particular that he needed to always watch like me and my mom. He enjoyed all the channels and watched a little bit of everything that he thought was interesting to him. I guess that's what you call basic dad stuff, sitting on a couch and channel surfing for something cool to watch. But my mom is very different than my dad. She is very, very specific in what she watched on television. This leads me to the second most important rule when it comes to watching TV. Even if you think what I'm about to say does not apply to you, it's good information to know because it could save your life one day. Remember what I said about the first rule of TV watching? Thou shalt never turn off the television when someone is watching it? I think that's a pretty important rule that we can all respect, right? Anyone turning off the TV while someone else is watching it, well, whatever happens to them, and I wish them good luck. Except your mom. Your mom is the only person who can turn off the TV on you or anyone in the house because that's how things work. So we can all agree that everything I said about TV rule number 1 is very important and must be respected, because violating TV rule number 1 is a very scary thing to do. But if you dare violate TV rule number 2, that is when you will truly experience fear in your life. Let me tell you what TV rule number 2 is. Thou shalt never ever, for the love of God, no matter what you do, never ever interrupt a Hispanic female who is watching her novella. I know this because my mom is from Latin America, and if you have a Hispanic mom, then you know what I'm saying is absolutely true. If you don't know what a novella is, they are Hispanic soap operas, and my mom would watch those all the time. I never got into novellas, but from what I saw growing up, my mom took watching her novella very serious. I'm not even exaggerating here. My entire house was on lockdown and it was quiet like a library. I would open my door to my room and all I can hear was the TV in the living room playing my mom's novella.
Ya no tienes que buscar por tu amor, porque siempre estaré al lado tuyo. Soy una parte de ti. Y nunca más te abandonaré.
I never interrupted my mom watching her novella, and that's why I'm still alive right now. Just interrupting my mom alone watching her novella will have horrors beyond your wildest imagination come true. When someone like my dad is even afraid of interrupting my mom watching her novella, that should tell you something right there. Anyone who has a Hispanic mom knows what I'm saying is the truth. But you know what? Once I learned the rules of watching TV, watching cable television was a blast. I cannot imagine my life growing up without cable television, because if it wasn't for cable, I would never know about Goku, Vegeta, and the 7 Dragon Balls. Imagine being a grown-up and not knowing who these guys are. That's what you call a crazy thought. Or worse, if I didn't have cable television, what was I gonna do with all my free time now? Go outside? No thanks, I'm good. So is cable television expensive? Yeah, but is cable television worth it? Hell yeah it is. Thank you mom and dad for having me grow up with cable. But let me wrap this video up. Leave me a comment down below. What kind of crazy or weird TV rules did you learn and see growing up? But thank you all so much for watching. I hope you all enjoyed it. If you did, please leave a thumbs up. And if you want more, hit that subscribe button and I will see you all later.